Showmaker just announced he's a free agent.
Yep. It's mainly about that we want the best outcome for the team.
It's a mess, bro.
I'm sure everyone's got a huge question on what's going on with Sven. All right, so as of today, I think we've finished our roster. So our offseason, like the majority of the work, the real stressful, wondering if someone's going to sign or not work is done.
So top lane is Summit. I think that he mechanically in LCK, he outshined most of his counterparts, and I think that he was probably a top 4 top laner in LCK. Blabber is going to be the jungler. I think he's really, really good. Obviously NA resident, probably the best NA resident jungler. Obviously I'm going to be mid laner. The past like week or so, I've been practicing mid lane, and I think I'm getting more comfortable on it every single day. In bot lane, we have Berserker, and Berserker is someone in Korea that's very, very young, and he's very hyped as a rookie because his mechanical ability it's very close to the top LCK ADCs. And lastly, we have support. This is something that is going to be decided later on because we have both Isles and Winsome. We're going to be doing a lot of internal scrims, basically playing against each other a lot and figuring out who's the better counterpart. And I think that right now the starting 5 is going to be Summit, Blabber, me, Berserker, and Winsome, or Isles. Obviously, we will depend on the Korean bootcamp.
I'm sure everyone's got a huge question on what's going on with Sven. And Sven is a player we actually all believe in. He is an incredible player. He's got an excellent mindset. He works incredibly hard. He totally buys in our system. But he is also someone who totally believes that better player should win. And right now, for us, we're not sure who that better player is. I think it's very likely, in fact, that Sven might be better, and like for lock-in might be the right choice for Cloud9, but we don't know, and we're gonna have to go to the boot camp to figure that out.
So basically, the idea is that whoever's better plays, right? If I'm worse than Copy, Copy should play. If Blabber's worse than Shern or whoever Academy jungler is, the Academy jungler should play, as long as the imports obviously are not restricting the movement. But if Copy ends up being better than me at the Korean bootcamp, I don't doubt that he's just going to be starting.
It's mainly about that we want the best outcome for the team. So we have to sacrifice some parts of the ego that's attached to the LCS position. We can't attach our self-worth to our games on stage. We just want the best outcome for our main team so that we can all improve as fast as possible. We're all trying to accelerate our skill at the game as fast as possible. So it doesn't matter if I'm playing on Academy this week, LCS the next week. What matters is that am I doing what's best for me to improve? Am I putting myself in the right place, in the right circumstances to get better at the game? That's trying to be the direction that we want everybody to move towards.
Current date, 15th of November, 2:30 p.m., 1 hour and 30 minutes before free agency. I'm pretty sure I'm the mid laner. I'm pretty sure we got Summit in the top lane. A lot of people questioning Summit on social media, which is fine. He will shit on every top laner, I'm sure of it.
I guess the major decision with the roster was moving me to mid lane and getting Summit. Initially, we were looking at mid laners, and we had a lot of different options. There are many, many free agents. Or like possible options, I guess, for us in this off season. And I mean, for me personally, I felt like a lot of the mid options were not as good as possibly getting a different top laner and putting me in mid lane. Mainly because I think I can switch pretty well into mid lane. I think a lot of my skill sets still transition pretty well, and I think I'll be able to get used to the role really quickly. A lot of the differences with the champions for me. I thought that me going mid lane and getting Kana or Summit was a much better roster and had very good chances of going pretty far at Worlds, rather than putting me in top lane and getting a different mid laner. And I think that Summit will very likely is probably better than me at top lane, at least currently. So I think he's very likely going to do really, really well in NA at least. He was probably a top 4 top laner in LCK. And I think that a lot of his weaknesses are in strategical ideas that he can easily be coached on.
Basically, we just talked to Summit. We saw how he felt about coming to NA. If he was fine with like signing 3 years. Obviously, like, is he going to be willing to learn English or like fit into the culture? And he's already been in LA before because he tried out for an NA team many years ago, which maybe people don't really know, but he tried out for Tempo Storm as a mid laner like 5 years ago or something.
Obviously, Blabber is going to be the jungler, and I think that he's also really open to a lot of different ideas. And whenever I talk to him about, for example, issues he had in 2021, I think he was very open to improving them, talking about them, and I think it's very comforting for me to know that he's going to be willing to work on all his issues and not just like dismiss them or like act as if they're not there. And I think Blabber is going to be improving a lot, especially in 2022. Obviously, I'm going to be mid laner. I assume that by lock-in, I will be probably around the top part of the league when it comes to mid laners. I don't think that the competition is very hard, honestly, compared to like if I was versing Chovy or some Korean mid laners. I think that a lot of what I need to improve on is mechanical. I think I'm very close to being at a point where I can match up to the other mid laners mechanically on certain matchups, certain champions. So I think I'm going to be pretty set on that. I think getting Berserker is actually a really, really good opportunity because it's also a long-term opportunity because he's so young and he's also going to be able to be taught all these new strategical ideas. And his mechanics are obviously already far and beyond, in my opinion, all the other ADCs in the league. I think that Winsome is like a challenger support player in Korea. He's someone that was born in America, so he has an NA resident status, an NA passport, and he's able to basically count as an NA resident, so we don't have too many imports, right? And I think he's someone that's also very mechanically good. And I think that usually is the case with a lot of the Korean players. They're usually mechanically very good, but they lack the strategical ideas. And I think that all these players are people that are very open and receptive based on conversations that me and the coaching staff have had with them to all these new ideas.
So we have all of December to prepare. So most of us will be flying out on the 1st. I think I have plans to go out a little bit earlier, a few days earlier than that. But the moment that we get out of quarantine, I think everything will be easier. We'll attempt to do scrims in quarantine with whatever Kespa teams that we can contact or internally, because we'll have, I think, a little more than 10 players available. So we'll be doing internal scrims and we'll be scrimming whatever Kespa teams agree to play for us. So the whole month of December is just boot camp, internal scrims and Kespa Cup scrims to practice. Of course, like Fudge will be lane swapping. That's really exciting. That he'll have this whole month of December to practice mid lane champions so that he can test them in a lock-in tournament. And of course, our intention is to win. So he has to get to a point where he can actually win against the mid laners that we'll be playing against.
We're going to Korea.
You're going to Korea.
We're going to Korea. That's our celebration.
Yes.
We're going to Korea to boot camp.
Yeah, it's something that every player wants to do.
Exactly.
That cares.
And then you come back to Super 7, right?
Of course, we come back to the NA Super Server, yeah.
That's going to be something.